Yes, good evening to everybody. Welcome to the class. Today, the family law that I am dealing the Waqf. Yesterday, that I started and taught to certain extent. And in this class, that I will try to see that whether I could finish it or not. If not, we will continue the tomorrow. Yes, read what I posted on the screen.
Good evening, Namaskar. The four pillars of Waqf. 1. The founder. 2nd. The Waqf asset. 3rd. Beneficiaries. 4th. Expression. Professor Dr. M.S. Hussain.
Yes, these are the four pillars should be there. And one is the founder, means Waqif. And the second is the Waqf asset, that is called Mawquf. And the third is beneficiaries, that Mawquf Aliyah. And if I may be right in the pronunciation, and expression is Saifah. Saifah. Yes, that is the thing. And let us, without wasting the time, I would like to go to that, yes, we covered up to this extent yesterday. The asterisk which I put it over here means we covered the Waqf in, yes, let me check it. Waqf in the Shia Sunni law that we covered it. In this class, we try to cover the next part of it. That is the Waqf under the Shia. Now I will close down because of this thing. Yeah, Waqf under Shia law is the essential conditions for the creating a valid Waqf according to the Shia law are. Read what is the essential conditions. Number 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes.
It must be perpetual.
Good.
It must be absolute and unconditional.
Yes.
3rd point. Possession of the thing appropriated must be given. 4th one. The Waqf property should be entirely taken out of Waqf.
Yes. So these are the four conditions. Number 1, it must be perpetual. What is meant by perpetual? Anyone? If you know it, you tell me. If you don't know it, just you can say pass on.
Pass on, sir.
Perpetual means continuity is there. See, permanent injection can also be known as a perpetual injection and temporary injection. In injection, perpetual means continuity. So that is an important factor. So it must be perpetual, not for the time bound. Means continuity would be there till it once given, that's all. That means it must be perpetual. Number 2, it must be absolute and unconditional. There will not be any condition, it should be there. Okay, I will give this property as the Waqf, but I do stay in one room. No, if once given, that's all total. So it is absolute property, should be transferred and given in the name of? In the name of?
Waqf.
Yes?
Waqf, sir.
The Waqf property given in the name of? God. Are you following me?
Yes, sir.
Divine. Is it clear? Say yes. Say yes.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Very good, very good. I appreciate. So number 3rd is possession of the thing appropriate must be given. The position is very much important. No position, no Waqf. The 4th one is the Waqf property should be entirely taken out of Waqif. Who is a Waqif?
Who gives the property?
Who gives the property? Who donates the property? Who transfers the property? Who disposes the property is called the Waqif. So once that property is given, the entirely taken out of the Waqif means Waqif doesn't have any right to hold, any right to take back the property. That is the thing. So who can create the Waqf? As you said, no, a man or a woman can also create a Waqf. But he should be a Muslim. If not a Muslim, at least the Waqf property objective would be not against the prophecy of the Islam. The person constituting a Waqf of his own properties is known as the founder of Waqf, or we can say Waqif also. To become a Waqif, a person dedicating the property must be competent enough to do so according to the provisions of law. Following are the conditions which need to be fulfilled to become a Waqif and constitute a Waqf. So now let us see what is the first condition. The person constituting the Waqf should be a Muslim. Yes. 2, should be a person of sound mind. 3, should have attained the age of majority. So these are the 3 conditions should be fulfilled over there when you want to be a Waqf in Shiala. We are dealing about the Shiala. Yesterday we dealt Waqf in. Yesterday we dealt
Sunnila.
Waqf in
Sunnila.
Sunnila.
Yeah, that's point. Sir, you are keep the filling the blank with the suitable words, sir. Yes, I would like to see whether the disciples are there, students are there, or they slept. So next is the Madras and Nagpur High Court have held that non-Muslim can also create a valid Waqf. We studied there also, provided the objective of the Waqf so created is not against the principle of Islam. According to the Patna High Court, a valid Waqf can also be constituted by non-Muslim. However, such a Waqf would only be constituted under the public Waqf. That is a non-Muslim cannot create a private Waqf. Only Muslim can create a Waqf. So that is called a non-Muslim cannot create any private Waqf. That is in Imambara, Takiya, and Khanakha. These are the things that we studied yesterday. So next, a person of sound mind. Yes, read that point. Read this one. Yes.
A person of unsound mind is incompetent to constitute a Waqf property. As such, a person cannot judge the legal consequences of such a transaction. Therefore, a Waqf constituted by an insane or minor person is void.
Yes. A unsound mind cannot competent to contract. In the same way, he cannot constitute a Waqf property. So that is a very obvious factor. The next is second point is a person may profess the capacity but may not have any right to continue as a Waqf. Such as a person cannot constitute a valid Waqf. The subject matter of the Waqf should be owned by the Waqif at the same time when the Waqf is being constituted. So a Waqif should have the possession of the property, number 1, and he should be an absolute owner of the property, number 2, and then only he can have the capacity to transfer in the form of a Waqf to in the name of God Almighty. A Waqf of any property held by the widow in lieu of her unpaid dower cannot be constituted. Yes, it is not a Waqf property because the dower is solely the amount of her. And because she is not an absolute owner of the property, suppose if she dies, the legal rights will take it away. So in case of the Waqif, a Pardanashin lady, we discussed it. A Pardanashin lady. Who is the Pardanashin lady? Yes. Who is a Pardanashin lady?
Person who wears not to see
Who
others.
has boundaries? Who has boundaries?
It is a lady who is under the veil, V-E-I-L, veil, that is not V-E-A-L. Veil means that is a flesh of a stag. So under the burqa, and she is secluded from the society, and he knows only the father's house, mother's house, and the husband's house, father-in-law's house, and mosque if she prays in the mosque. They generally, some ladies not pray in the mosque, they will be praying in their respective homes, but some places the people go in the mosque also. So that is called the Pardanashin lady. So if such a lady would be there, yes, she can give any property in the Waqf, but she should know what the act she is doing at the time, and she has to sign it, and whatever that it is written over there, it should be read over there, and she should have to hear it, then she should understand it, then only that Waqf property transferring the valid property by the Pardanashin lady. Number 3, a person can dedicate his entire property for the creation of the Waqf, but in the case of the testamentary Waqf, more than 1/3 of the property cannot be dedicated. So that is the hindrance and the point they put it over there as an impediment in the testamentary Waqf. Then valid object of the Waqf. So what is the valid object of Waqf? Number 1, an essential for the validity of the Waqf is that dedication should be for the purpose of the recognized as the religious, pious, and charitable. These are 3 things you have to remember. Religious, pious, or charitable under the Muslim law. On the basis of the decided cases, the next eminent Mohammedan jurist said an object must have been declared to be valid object of the Waqf are, what are the object of the Waqf? Number one, mosque and provisions for imams to conduct the worship. Mosque and provisions for imams to conduct the worship. Then who is imam? Who is imam? If you know it, you tell me. If you don't know it, say pass on.
Pass on, sir.
A person who is in front side be there and he offer he recite the prayer, and the same way the people, those who at the back, should have to follow the same type of the exercise. The front man called like a priest in a church, like a pujari in temple, and he also leads the prayer. So he's called imam. So celebrating a birth of Ali Murtuza, even the prophets, not prophets exactly, because in the Shia, these people, Itna Sharia people are there, and many people, they will celebrate their imams, Murtuzas, even birth and death also. A death in memory of it. Birth, because he has dedicated himself for the society. So that is the celebrating of the birth of Ali Murtuza. And number third, repairs of the Imam Baras. I told you Imam Baras, Khanakhas, Takiyas. These are all the places one can be used as a getting the education and sleeping and lodging and praying, and all religious activity be connected over there. So fourth, maintenance of the Khanakhas. I told you with the pictorial in yesterday class with the photographs, images that I shown you, Khanakhas, Takiyas, Imam Baras, Dargah, graveyard, masjid. Then reading a Quran in a public places and also a private places, houses. So recitation of the Quran, reading of the Quran, it should be either public places or public. This is also the object of this Waqf. So the next is maintenance of the poor relations and dependents. This is also a point where it can be considered, and the payment of the monetary to the faqirs, money to the faqirs. Who is the faqir? Faqir means nothing but a beggar, but these beggars, what they do, they stand at the corner, or sometimes they recite the price of the lords, and people come and give the money and they go away. So faqirs, the payment of the money to the faqirs and the poor man's, and the grant to Eidgah. You know Eidgah? You know Eidgah?
Done, sir.
If you know it, you tell me. If you don't know it,
Pass on, sir.
why you are taking so much time? Sir, we are checking in the smartphone, sir. That's why it took a lot of time. Eidgah means every year, 2 times, the people go outside of the village or street, then offer the prayer, Eidul Azha, Eidul Fitr. Oka Puddula Pandaga, that is Eidul Fitr, and Bakra, that is sacrificing the Mecca.
Goat.
So that is Eidul Azha. And where they go and pray in the faraway places, out of the city, out of the town, out of the village, that place where they offer a prayer, that is called Eidgah. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, repeat. What is Eidgah?
Every
People
year,
who offer prayer.
A
every year,
place
2 times
where the people go twice in a year to offer the prayer out of the village, out of the city, or far away from the houses. And such place is called Eidgah. Okay, grant to the colleges and provision for the professor to teach in the colleges. Yes, schools, colleges, hospitals, these are all the object of
Waft.
Waqf. That is the, even bridges, caravans, sarais, inns, chowdhury houses. These are all things will be made by that. And the distribution of the alms to the poor person. giving the money, giving the clothes, giving the food, giving the even shoes or chappals, some other thing, assistance to the poor, enable them to perform the pilgrimage to Mecca. Suppose somebody is not having the money, and some little amount would be left over there, and at least giving the some certain expenses to go to the Mecca, the pilgrimage, to attend the Hajj. Yeah, keeping the taziyas in the month of Muharram, it is in memory of the Hazrat Hussain Hussain, they keep the taziyas. And a provision for the camels, duldul, it is also like animal. A religious processing during the Muharram. A religious procession is going on over there. At that instance, camels are there, dulduls are there. It is one of the animal there available in the desert areas. In the Muharram, the first month of the Muslims. And 13, celebrating the death anniversary of the settlers of the member of the family. Of course, the anniversary of the settlers means the person those who are given the amount, given the land, given the property in the form of a waqf. It is called a waqif, that is settler or a founder, and because of in his birthday or his death day, something will be, celebrations will be there, and the prayers will be made, and the Quran is cited, and it will be offered on his name, because that is a salvation, and people believe it, and we believe it. So number 14, performance of the ceremonies known as the Qadam Sharif, some Dargah Sharif, Sandal, there is a procession, there is garlands, they will make it out, there will be a chadar would be there, means a blanket will be covered over there on the graves for the people, those who will go for the Ajmer Sharif, and even other places also, the Eidgahs are there where the people will perform such a respect to over there. And people going to the dargahs, it is not to prayer over there, but we can get the lessons from them, how they dedicated their life. So it is a lesson to them, number one. Number two, we also know that we are one day or another day we are going to die. So that remembrance also would be there. So that the purpose of, and then praying for the maghfirat means praying for his welfare, and praying for his place in the Jannah. That will also be a part of it. So the 15, the construction of the Kobat and free boarding house for the pilgrimage at Mecca. See, it is giving the free food, boarding facilities, water facilities, making there, those who are going to the pilgrimage to Mecca. At the time, we don't have the aeroplanes. The people who wants to go, either go by the camels. Are you following me?
Yes, sir.
And through the ship, sometimes camels. Okay. But nowadays,
Airplanes.
yes. That I want to see whether you are slept out, whether you are present, whether you are not. So that is a check and balance method. Then you read the 16th.
Performing the annual
You read
Fatiha
yourself.
of the
If
members
one
of
is
his
reading
family.
beginning, then second is second time. Yeah. Go ahead.
Performing the annual Fatiha of the members of his family.
Yeah, performing the annual Fatiha. The Fatiha means reciting the first kalima of the Quran and any other kalima, and offer in the name of a particular persons. So that would be there, because naturally the God will not eat. We only eat, but in the sake of the in the name of the God that we offer it later, that food will be given, distributed among the people, including the relatives. And Darogar and strains of the peer, which had long been held in the veneration by the public. So whatever the expenditure would be there at the payment of the strains of the peer, everything it will be maintained by the Waqf property and Waqf Uzufrekta and Waqf. So these are all the following are not recognized as a valid object as the Waqf by the Muslims. So the following, they say, it is not the object. With it, one is objects prohibited in Islam. So whatever the Islam is prohibited, that should not be performed over there. Like erecting or maintaining a church or temple, because they say God is one. So a Waqf for the repairs of the Waqif secular property is invalid. Repairs, this is not repairs. This is repairs. See, spending the property of the Waqf for the Waqif secular property is invalid according to the Shia law. See, when the Waqif has given the property, is given for it at all. Total amount will be given. A Waqf for the any other, a Waqif's own property cannot be repaired with the amount of this Waqf property. So providing for the rich exclusively, no. When you are giving money, alms to the poor, you should have to give to the mostly poor people, but not the rich people. See, when you are Annadata ఎవరికి చేస్తారండి? సార్ బంధువులకు చేయాలి సార్.
Poor persons. Poor persons.
Annadatamu, you try to go to the places, those who could not feed it, ask them to come and eat and go away. Of course, even the relatives also eat, but first and foremost, the poor people.
Poor persons.
Ladies.
And sometimes, you know, these schools are there, madrasa are there, and the orphan children also they read there. And they will read both the Quran as well as the local education also. So they will also offer the people, orphans people, and later on some poor people around surrounding the area. And later on, of course, the people, those who are performing such a feast, they also eat it. But that is not the first time they eat it. First they will serve to the poor. Then the lastly they will eat. Okay. The object which are uncertain. So the object should be very much clear. See, some people, I don't know whether you heard or not. When we ask, no, today is my birthday. Huh? Sometimes they say birthday was there. No, that is not my birthday, my sister's birthday. How many times the birthday come in a year?
Once.
But people do that 2 times. Without reason. So, that is without reason that you are not supposed to give it. Eh? Can you give 100 rupees to the beggars? Yes? Can you give 100 rupees to the beggars?
No, sir.
See, if you know it, you tell me, please. If you don't know it, you say pass on. Don't waste the time.
Pass on. Pass on.
Never give the money to the beggars. If you want to give some fruits, give some fruit, give some bread. But don't give the money to the beggars. So if you really wants to beg it. So even if you want to give the money, also give the coin, only change, but not the 100 rupees note. That fellow, what he will do now? He will directly go to the arak shop at a Gudamba house and he will drink the Gudamba. Are you following me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir.
So objects which are uncertain, we should not supposed to do it. A directional to spend a certain sum of money for the feasting Kachi Memans. No, these Kachi Memans are not Muslims. And everyone on the anniversary of the settler's death is not valid. See, when the settler's anniversary also we are not supposed to do it. Because settler is given for the public use, not for his birth anniversary. Are you following me? Are you following me?
Yes, sir.
What is the settler say in Arabic terminology? You are again silent, you are. Settler means founder. Founder means the person who is giving the property in the name of Waqf in the name of God. What do you say in the Arabic terminology? Again you are silent. First pillar. Again you are silent. Say pass on. What do you read here? First pillar.
The founder.
Founder. Waqif. Why you are keeping quiet? See, we told several times yesterday. Since yesterday I am giving this. Waqif means person who is giving the property. We can say founder. We can say settler. These are the terminologies which we do. Don't say prepositus. Don't say testator. Because it is not the testator property you are giving. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Then why you are keeping silent? When I asked several times, sir, we did not understand, sir. You say pass on, or you say repeat. Okay, Doctrine of Cyprus also we can say it. The word Cyprus means sometimes say Cyprus. Cyprus or Cyprus. Okay, the way that you want, you can pronounce it, but I say Cyprus. Doctrine of Cyprus means nearly as possible. The doctrine of Cyprus is, or Cyprus is the principle of the English law of trust. Under this doctrine is a trust executed or carried out nearly as possible according to the object laid down in it. That means, in general terms, what I say, suppose the money which are using for the Waqf property should be giving to the educated, to educate the elders. Educate the who? Educate the whom? Elders in the society, those who are not studied, those who did not go to the primary school. What is the pathakam? Ratri Badi pathakam.
Vayojana Vidya.
Yes, Akshara. So a scheme was there. A Waqf has given the money. Okay, educate all the elders. Okay, everybody educated, and nothing is left over there. Now, if everybody is educated over there, educate even youths also. If the youth also educated over there, now educate the children also. That means, which is very near to it, you try to use that money over there. That is called Doctrine of Cyprus. The Doctrine of Cyprus is applicable to Waqf where it is not possible to continue by any Waqf because of the lapse of time and changed circumstances, some legal difficulty, where the specified object has already been completed. The Waqf may be allowed to continue further by applying the Doctrine of Cyprus. Suppose the Waqf property used only for the educated, the elders, those who are not gone to the school. Okay. If all elders are educated, then okay, try to see that the younger. Means we should not stop it. Very near to that one, youth should be educated. If the youth should be educated, then children should be educated. If the children should be educated, then women, elders, will be educated. Then woman is over there, then youth, female should be educated. Are you following me? So
Yes, sir.
one to after it should be continued in that way. So that type of the called Doctrine of Cyprus. The legal incidents of Waqf. What are the legal incidents of Waqf? Once dedication to God, yes, it is given to God. Good. And we are not supposed to take back. Okay, except alal awlad, means for your descendant you can make it out. So MD Ismail versus Thakur Shabir Ali, Supreme Court held that even the Waqf alal awlad, the property is dedicated to God, only the usufruct, means the benefit. Usufructs are used by the descendants. Yes, irrevocable. Yes, once it is given. In India, Waqf once declared and complete cannot be revoked. The Waqif cannot get his property back in his name or in any other's name. If once it is arrow came out of the bow, again it cannot be written back. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Say in Telugu. Say in Telugu. Arrow came out of the bow, cannot be go back. Say in Telugu. Okay, say in English. Sir, neither you say in English nor you say in Telugu.
The arrow once taken from the bow cannot be taken back.
బాణము ధనస్సు నుండి ఒకసారి వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత మళ్ళీ తిరిగి రాదు. సార్ మీరు రెండు కూడా బాగానే చెప్తానే సార్. తెలుగు మీడియం, బిఎస్సి ఎంపీసీ. Okay, the Waqif cannot get his property back in his name or in any other's name for permanent or perpetual. Is it a permanent or a perpetual? Both are the same. Both are the synonyms. A perpetuity is an essential element of the Waqf. Once the property is given to the Waqf, it remains for the Waqf forever. Waqf cannot be specific time duration. That is the MST Piran versus Hafiz Muhammad. It is held by the Allahabad High Court that the Waqf of a house built on land leased for a fixed term was invalid, because there is no fixed term. It is forever. Permanent or perpetual. సార్ వాళ్ళు స్కూల్ బడికి పోయి వచ్చింది సార్. స్కూల్ అంటే ఏంటిది, బడి అంటే ఏంటి? పర్పెచువల్ అన్నా పర్మనెంట్ రెండు ఒకటే. ఐదర్ యూ కెన్ సే పర్మనెంట్ ఆర్ యూ సే పర్పెచువల్. ఓకే, ద 4 is inalienable, means you cannot dispose it, you cannot transfer it. Since work property belongs to God, no human being can alienate it or dispose it, transfer it for himself or any other person. It cannot be sold or given away to anybody. You read the fifth one. Read the fifth one.
Use or charitable use. The usufruct of the Waqf property can only be used for pious and charitable purpose. It can also be used for descendants in case of a private Waqf.
Yes. See, anything that your Waqf property could be used for charitable purposes. The usufruct means whatever the profit will come, for the pious purposes and charitable purposes, it can be done. And used for the descendants only, and the private Waqf, in alal awlad, in the private Waqf. Now the sixth is extinction of the right of Waqif. If once the property is given by the Waqif to the God, the Waqif loses all the right, even to the usufruct. He cannot enjoy the usufruct also, even the tenants, the rents also, anything he cannot enjoy it of the property. He cannot claim any benefit from that property. Seventh, power of the court's inspection. Yes, the courts have the power to inspect the functioning or the management of the Waqf property. It is a must for them. Yes, it is a must from them. Power of the courts to inspection is there. And the Waqf property, misuse of the property of the usufruct is a criminal offense as per the Waqf Act. Suppose if any person has used the property of the Waqf, he is a criminal offense according to the Waqf Act of 1995. Yes, mode of the creation of the Waqf. A Waqf can be created in the following ways: by an act or interviews, by the parties, and Waqf can be created by the will also. This type of the Waqf is created between the living voices constituted during the lifetime of the Waqif, and that takes effect from that very moment. Then the by will, in the testament also it can be done. How much they can give in the testament? How much the property will be given in the testament?
Unlimited, sir.
How much the property will be given in the testamentary Waqf?
1/3.
1/3. 1/3. Such a Waqf cannot operate upon more than one third of the net assets without the consent of the heirs. If it is more than that, during the death or illness of the marzul maut, at the deathbed also you can make the Waqf. Like the gift bed, while the donor is on the deathbed and will operate till the extent of 1/3 of the property without the consent of the heirs of the property. Marzul maut also you can make the Waqf. By immemorial user, even time immemorially you are using the land as a graveyard. Vaikunta Stalamu. If you are using it for time immemorial, automatically that becomes a Waqf property. The limitation of the time also applies to the creation of the Waqf property, but Waqf property can be established by way of immemorial use. Suppose somebody is using that area for going for the toilet. Forever, time immemorial. Of course, now the latrines, the toilets are made over there, isn't it? Now you cannot go wherever you like it in the villages also. But only the Vaikunta Dhanamu and graveyard can be used over there, and Eidgas. Okay, completion of the Waqf, when you can say Waqf can be completed with the following modes. What is the number one? Right?
Where a third person is appointed as the first mutawali.
Yes, that is the one of the condition. Means mutawalli means nothing but a manager. Next.
Second, where the founder constitutes himself as the first mutawali.
Yes. Who is the founder?
Waqif.
Settler. He can also keep the mutawalli. Now, when you say the kinds of Waqf and other things, we'll read tomorrow class. Plus, we can also go for the mutawallis and other people. Okay. So now it is enough for today's. So I will keep the asterisk here, because up to this extent we dealt today, so that it will be easy to know what we are going to do tomorrow. So with this, I would like to stop my today's lecture. Thank you very much for your patient listening. A little technical defect would be there, that will be rectified. But when we started it, thank you for your patience listening. And bye. I will end up the
Thank
meeting
you,
now.
sir.
Yes, end of meeting
Thank you,
for
sir.
all.